Hello, and welcome to day 9, session 1 of the 365-day meditation challenge, where I challenge myself to meditate for 1 hour every day in order to become more successful. I'll be doing this for a year. Hopefully, I'll not skip any day. I don't feel very good these days. I kind of had a cold. I didn't, I slacked off. I put the work away. And yeah, I don't feel bad about it. And I've been thinking a lot about how I was under the assumption that I needed to feel a certain way in order to work, to have a certain disposition in order to work. And then I remembered that no, most of the time you don't feel like it. Most of the time it's it just feels awful. And knowing that it's not required to feel good in order to work and to do things that you want to do is a blessing, I think, whatever that word means. I have some black tea with honey, and certain times life is not only about work, it's not only about productivity. And yeah, I still am doing this meditation challenge, but I'm trying to put everything together and understand the things that I want to do next and how I'm going to achieve the things that I want to achieve. It certainly feels like giving up is a way better idea. I said yesterday that I gave up, and it's true. I am only able to do these things that I'm doing because I feel compelled to do it due to the fact that I've done it for so many days in a row. And it feels, it doesn't feel awkward or it doesn't feel like I'm doing anything. It just feels like, okay, I need to do that now. And I'm just going to do it. And it might seem fancy to say, oh, I'm always motivated and I'm always eager to work and do that and do this and whatever. Feel positive. But I feel like people are not putting that out there enough. This idea of sometimes you just don't feel like it. And they say, oh, you have to just not let that feeling win. You push through. And I feel like that's weird. Like, why do you need to force yourself to do things? I know why, because you are forced not by yourself, but by consequences outside of yourself. And that's why it's so hard to actually do things, because most of us are not in the best of situations. And people who say, it's funny, like people who say they work and do something else on top never ever recommends anything of that sort. They just do it to escape the or try to get some income on top of it. But the people who are pushing this idea that you should always keep on working and do, and those are people who most of the times all they are doing is just talking and meeting with people, and they don't actually do work. If they did 6 months of just what their people are doing, the employees that they have. People don't understand that once you get to a level of having employees, amassing vast amounts of wealth, the game is easier because you can now pay someone to do what idea you have, and they're going to do it because they are pushed by the situation they are in to accept a deal that is not really beneficial for them. So that's exactly how it works. At some point you have amassed enough wealth, enough money to just, and of course you also need to be that kind of person, because certain people just get rich and never ever have employees. But to not admit to the fact that you are benefiting off of the productivity of others is truly snake like, you know? They, and I see this a lot with people. They have a lot of employees and they say, "Oh, but I worked so hard to be able to afford this, and I work more than everyone else." Of course, because you have a skin in the game. It's your business. Nobody's saying that you didn't work. What we are saying is now you're not. What you consider work is just telling other people what to do. And I saw a meme that was very funny. It's like, yeah, work is nice, but telling people what they did wrong and naming yourself a consultant, now that's work. So yeah, it's just people don't understand this, and it's, I've understood it, but I don't have the kind of blood in my veins to take advantage of it to the maximum amount. I have had employees and I'm still benefiting from the work that they did. Each and every one of them. I'm still able to benefit off of that. Of course, it's not entirely from their work. I have to do the way my big business is structured. I have to do this side of the work, and whatever I could delegate, I delegated. But the things that were that there are things that only I can make in the business. That's what makes me an owner, a business owner. But they got the short end of the stick. I treated them nicely, I paid them well, but in that economic sense, I have more benefit off of them. And I'm always aware of this. And it's been, that's why I don't, I, I always battle with this idea of having people work for me and not having people work for me, because whenever I always felt as if I was taking advantage of them. And it's true, because you are profiting off of their productivity, off of their work. Late late stage capitalism. It's yeah, it's a bad thing. And people don't take jobs because they want. They take jobs because they need to. And certain amount of people are fortunate enough to pick only the jobs that they want to take. But most of the people are pushed in these, not ideas, but in these corners where they don't have a choice. They need to work, they need to accept jobs, whatever they can find. And it's bad. And funny enough, whenever you start a business, usually you don't have capital, so you don't have a lot of money, which means it's almost impossible to pay people well. And but what you can do is treat them well. And you'd be so amazed at how much people appreciate you being a very kind person, because they understand that most of the jobs they had, there is this underlying feeling where the owners just despise them as much as possible, and the managers as well. And the manager doesn't want to be there, the employee doesn't want to be there, the boss thinks that these employees are ungrateful, and it's this small little murmur that you always feel. And the way I've dealt with that in the past when I was an employee was I just didn't care. I just felt good whatever I was doing, because I viewed it as 8 hours, I do whatever the fuck you want. I don't care. I'm just gonna do whatever the fuck you want. I don't have any attachment, any emotional attachment to this. I'm just gonna do 8 hours. It's gonna be 8 hours. I'm just gonna do it. I'm not gonna say that to the person, but I'm gonna act it. And I'm just gonna find anything to do around. I'm just gonna, and boy oh boy, people when I had jobs, people loved me. They called me back to work for them again. They appreciated it. I still hear words from other bosses that they were, they still appreciate the work that I did for them. And I was like, yeah, because they don't understand that people would do that anyway if they were being treated with dignity and appreciation. And sure, you might open yourself up to people who can take advantage of you, and I certainly did. I did expand way too quickly, thinking that I have business acumen, and still, it was fun. I learned a lot, but certain people were like, oh, this guy has money. I was having a good period, and certain people were like, okay, this guy has money. I'm gonna sneak in there and take some of his money by working for him and telling him what he needs to hear. And I'm very weary of people who tell me what I want to hear, especially when I pay them. I don't want to hear what I want to hear. I want to talk to a person in a nice way, chill, just there isn't a lot of pressure. The more pressure there is in the relationship, in the business relationship, the harder it is to get things done. And I've noticed that if there is any pressure, this pressure comes usually from deadlines and salaries, because whenever you pay people by salary, they tend to just be like, okay, it's time. However you want to spend this time. I'm not saying that these people are ungrateful or anything. I'm just saying that paying people not for the result. I'm paying 3 times as much for the result now than I was paying hourly. and I'm getting better results because the result is tied to the income, and the person really is more enticed to work. I don't have to y- there is no need to tell them what to do. There is no need to remind them of anything. There is no need, because they get the work done, they get paid. They get the result, they get paid. So I made it abundantly clear that the moment they deliver, they get paid. And I did. They delivered, I paid them. And now I just got a message being like, oh, sorry, but I had a lot of work. And I'm like, no problems. Because I am not on the line, on the hook to pay the salary if they don't provide the work. So imagine if they had this situation where they had a busy life exactly when I needed the work and they were a salary person. I feel like paying people a salary is not really, it's for those people who want to pay less to give by giving uh, security. They think, well, I always talk to people and told them, like, look, there is no thing, there is not job security. You have a job until you don't have it. There is no longer such a thing as job security. The employer will just immediately after they find someone, and sometimes they actually put you to train them in order to get their job, to get your job. It just so happens all the time. So job security is not really a thing anymore. You can get it's you feel as if you have security by having a job, but you don't. It's like so easy to, if the business does stops making enough money, the employer has no problem saying goodbye, and all of that security just goes away. But yeah, it feels as if whenever you have a contract or you have an employment, you are more secure than doing freelance work or whatever business you want. You realize this whenever you yourself employ someone else. It's You understand that you can see that that person believes in you so much, and it's implied that you give them security, and you're like, how can you believe this? I know it's been 18 minutes. Let's start the meditation session. I felt a bit chatty today. So let's start the beautiful meditation. 31 minutes, first session of the day. And there you go. The session is over. I am always amazed by the fact that I can feel very bad before a meditation or the entire day. And then I meditate and I feel so much better. Right now, I feel quite amazing. And it's funny. You repeat this to yourself all the time when you're meditating, but you never internalize the fact that you will feel better afterwards. I don't know why. Your mind doesn't want to accept the fact that it will feel better after you meditate because it takes effort to meditate. So it doesn't want to expand that effort to feel better. It's funny. Thank you for watching. I'm not gonna keep you here with more blabbering about capitalism. And see you in the next one.